And so this is the interior. As you can see, here I'll start it up. It is a push start, so you push the brake and then you push the button. Car will start right up. I'm sure we'll get some music to come along too with it. So up here are your cluster gauges. I'm sorry about the glare, but let me see. It's your tachometer. You've got your speedometer. Those are analog gauges. The only digital gauge is right here in the center. Now I will scroll through these. As you can see, there's a, let's see if I can kind of get rid of that glare. There's a performance tab, 0 to 60 timer, as well as a braking distance. There's a vehicle info, tells you tire pressure, coolant temp, transmission temp, oil pressure, oil life, battery voltage, back to tire pressure. We have speedometer, that's going to be your analog one, but if you want to read a little bit more of an accurate one, or at least know exactly what speed you're going, they offer that. And then you have your screen setup, which I won't go through. Messages, I think that's just like car messages, haven't had anything pop up there. You have your audio, this will tell you what station you're on, etc., etc. And then trip info, average mile per gallon. You can do 2 trips, trip A and trip B. And then back to fuel economy, and is there another one? I think, yeah, and you can do 2 different fuel economies. All right, so another cool feature to point out, let's see, down here, this is just, again, the stock SXT package with the blacktop. You have your sport mode here, which just basically doesn't do anything to the suspension or anything like that. It just causes it to shift a little bit more aggressively and go into higher RPMs. You have your emergency flashers, a back button, which I haven't used yet, so I'm assuming it's just back on this menu up here. Traction control on off. You have standard, a dual climate controlled system in your car, so I can adjust what temperature I want, and my passenger can adjust the other side. Front and rear defrosters, recirculating, and AC, obviously. This is the 8-speed automatic. So this is unlike the other recalled one. This actually shifts into gear, so when you push it, it'll actually stay locked into drive, neutral, reverse, and park. It doesn't snap back to the middle. Let's see down here. We got some stuff, hold on. So down here you have an auxiliary, a USB, as well as an SD card slot, and also a cigarette lighter down there as well, which I run my iPhone charger. And there's this little gap right here, which is kind of nice, so you won't snag or damage any of your wires. And then over here, move all this stuff out of the way real quick. Back over here, this is the interior. It's nice and bolstered. You have very kind of high little pillars here. Put my hand in there just to kind of show. I mean, they're pretty big. I just have my windows tinted, so I cannot roll down my windows, but that is going to be your switch for your passenger, door locks, window up and down. What else to notice? You've got 2 standard regular tungsten lights, your interior lights here and there. You've also got your spare sunglass holder with sunglasses that I've already put in. In your back seat. So how does this measure out? Pardon the water jug. The back seat is actually pretty roomy. I can't visually show you, but you can definitely fit 2 good-sized adults back there. There's a decent amount of headroom. I would say if you're probably over 6'2", you may be just a tiny bit cramped, but there's ample leg room, given that, you know, your front passenger will have to scoot up their seat just a little bit. All right, now to go through just a little bit of this 8.4 navigation touchscreen display. So down here, you got your radio button, which is Sirius as well as FM and AM radio. You've got your media, so if you have a Bluetooth phone, that will work with it. Let me see if I can go here, turn this on. So I've got some of my music. Don't want it to play though. You set it up over there. You can have information about the phone, or at least what track you're on for your music. You can go up here to your map while you're playing. So you have to actually be selected on this icon in order to play music from your phone. Or you can plug in through the little auxiliary jack that I showed you, or USB, or SD card as well. But you can have your map going while you're listening to music. Over here in the controls, you have a mirror dimmer, which is turned off automatically, but you have to go in and select it. It doesn't turn off when the car turns off, it's just off by default when you buy the vehicle, if you buy it new. You can turn this actual screen off, so as you can see, I'll turn this off. The screen goes completely off, and you can touch it again, and then it'll come right back up. Again, let's see, and we have the settings over here. You can change your display, units, voice, clock, blah, 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 lights. I think for lights you can do how long the headlights stay on before they go off, headlight illumination on approach, so the car will sense you, like if you have your key on you. Headlights with wipers, so if you turn your wipers on, your headlights will come on. You can turn on your daytime running lights if that's required by your state, or if you just want that. And then you can also flash your lights with lock, which obviously I keep on just because I want to know that I locked the vehicle. I think door and locks, so you can auto unlock on exit. Flashlights with lock, sound horn with lock off, and then first press of key fob unlocks driver doors or all doors. And then you can also do passive entry, which means I can actually take my key fob and I can just approach the vehicle, and I don't have to physically push the unlock button, and it will automatically unlock for me once I stick my hand underneath the door handle. Oops, let's see, go back here, settings. And then we've got the engine off options. So you can do an engine off power delay and a headlight delay. So I think the engine off power delay, which I'm pretty sure you can just say, hey, when I turn off the vehicle, I don't want you to turn off my music while I'm still sitting in the vehicle for 45 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. So I'm just going to do 5 minutes because I usually like to sit in my car and listen to the last bit of a song before I go back inside sometimes. Alright, so that's controls. Let me see if there's anything else. Audio, you can do some audio setups as well. Equalizer, balance fade, speed adjusted volume, and auxiliary volume offset. The other thing that you want to check out too would probably be some of these apps. So these apps are included for free for a year if you buy the vehicle, otherwise you do have to pay for them, or at least to access them with the Uconnect software. You have your navigation, Pandora, phone, media, iHeartRadio, more controls, climates, mirror dimmer, AHA, which I think just basically whatever application you're using, you can send direction. Like if you're navigating with your phone, you can go to the AHA application and it will send those directions to your car, so you don't have to keep looking at your phone. Application setup, application manager, there's the assist button in case anything ever goes wrong, stuff like that. Radio screen off, send and go, settings, Slacker, store, travel link, user guide, Wi-Fi hotspot, which is included free for a week, which is kind of a bummer. It's only a week, but I haven't had a chance to use it yet. I think it's like $14.95 a month. I'm probably wrong about that. It's probably more, but it's included for a week for free when you first buy your car. You have your climate controls over here. Now, like I said before, my passenger, as long as you unpress the sync button here, when you unpush the sync button, that allows for the passenger to control their temperature and you to control your own. You can set where you want it to go, recirculating auto, your front defroster and rear defroster. Again, all those, well, for mostly all those are accessible down here as well. but in order for your passenger to have his own temperature, you'd have to go through this menu. You have your navigation here. Now, the one nice thing about this navigation is there's two nice things. One, it moves very, very quickly. I mean, relatively quickly. It's not as fast as like Google Maps. The other nice thing too, let me see if I can kind of control it over here. This will tell you basically, you know, the traffic, what the traffic is like, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can go to your options, and you can go to settings, and you can basically also, you can set, you know, you don't want to go over the speed limit, you can set a limit for that, or a warning for that. Guidance, GPS, settings, et cetera. And then over here to the phone system again. This is like the Bluetooth hands-free. So once you sync your phone to the Bluetooth that is in the car, it will sync with your contacts as well. So you can pull up a contact and then basically call them. You can go to your recent calls and call them there. You can push this button right over here, and I can say, call mom.
Calling mom mobile. Press the phone hang up button to end the call.
And then it will dial automatically for you and see it's calling mom. So I'm gonna not talk to her just quite yet. Anyway, you can join, you can join calls, you can transfer over, say for example, you're taking a work phone, or you're taking a call for work on your cell phone, you can transfer it over to another, line or something like that. And then you can this is where you can set, like your most used contacts. You can text with this as well. You can just say text, whatever. You actually, if you hold down this VR button, instead of just pushing it once, see if I hold it down, Siri will pop up. Call mom.
Calling mom.
And once again, so now you can actually use Siri rather than the Dodge woman thing. Oops, she probably didn't get that. Okay, so that is mostly it on the interior. The one other thing that I want to add to this is that the AC works incredibly well. If you live in a hot climate, you will definitely appreciate it. There are a total of 4 vents in the front, and I believe, there are 2 vents right down here, where my hand's at, for the passengers in the vehicle. AC works great. It really is a wonder of difference compared to my last car. And so that's the interior, and let's go check out the exterior. It's a little loud because the AC is on the inside. This has the Blacktop package with the upgraded 20-inch wheels. They are 245 45 R20s. The car also features a vinyl black decal, which runs all the way through the back. You also get this black fuel cap as a trim piece as well. These are the taillights, back in the back. They are also tinted to kind of fit with that black appearance. So a couple of questions that people usually ask me are, what kind of mileage will you expect out of this overall? If you are pretty light, you can probably expect somewhere between, with the mix, city 50% and then highway 50%, you can probably expect around 22 miles per gallon if you're pretty light on the foot. If you drive aggressively, definitely expect for the average mile per gallon to be a little bit lower, probably around the 17 mark. It has an 18.5 gallon fuel tank. It only takes regular gas, or it only requires regular 87 gas. It has a range of about 350 to 400, again depending on how light you are on the gas pedal. How does it feel driving? Well, here, I'll show you this one thing. The most important part, and you'll have to, I don't have a dirty windows, this is actually newly installed window tint. If you can see, let's see if I can zoom in, that all right there is the hood. So It definitely feels like driving a boat. It's super smooth on the freeway, over bumps. The inside absolutely makes no noise while you're driving. If you go over like, who knows, like speed bumps or anything like that, you'll feel the stiffness of the suspension, but you do not feel like you're bouncing around a lot. It's very firm. When you take corners, it does kind of have a little bit of a lean here and there. You probably don't want to take them too fast, but it feels very tight. The steering wheel itself is very tight. There's no play in it whatsoever. The car is extremely well insulated, so if it's 100 degrees outside and I have the AC on, I'm not sweating, my back doesn't stick to the seat. It feels very soundproof as well. Like I said, if I cruise down the street, and I'll show you an example of this in just a minute. If I cruise down the street with no music on or anything like that, it's almost completely silent in the car. You can definitely hear a little bit of the engine, especially in the V6. You're not going to hear very much compared to the V8. But for the V6, you can definitely hear just a little bit of rumble, but it's not droning. It doesn't get old after a while. It feels very smooth. The car does not have a lot of torque, meaning that when you give it a little bit of gas, it doesn't, you know, immediately take off from the line. You have to give it a little bit more if you kind of want that, you know, thrust. But once it gets up to highway speeds, I would say probably once it's, you know, about 40-50 miles an hour, I mean, the car can definitely take off pretty quick. Again, you know, nothing compared to the V8 or anything like that, but the car has got a good amount of acceleration once you get going. Off the line, if you really want to give it some gas, you know, you definitely can. You can get that, you know, thrust, but it's going to require a little bit more than probably a lighter, or it will definitely require a little bit more than compared to, like, you know, Subaru BRZ or something like that. The car weighs almost 4,000 pounds, so it's pretty heavy. You know, definitely expect for your passengers as well as you to have a very comfortable ride. It is definitely not the American muscle car compared to the V8s, but if you want to cruise all day long, I mean, you know, if you're on the freeway or if you're sitting in traffic or something like that, and you want a, you know, nice kind of classic looking car but don't want to, you know, get 14 miles to the gallon, this is a great car to have. Again, it's more, I definitely would say that the V6 with all the options, it's definitely much more of a show car than a, well, you can say it's much more of a slow car as well as a show car. But if you're not looking for the power, you want to save a little bit on gas, but you love the styling, the V6 is quite an option. You know, like I said, don't expect a lot of performance out of it, but freeway, you know, passing cars, stuff like that, it's very easy, and you can still, you know, if you're pretty lenient about it, you can still definitely get about 20 to 22 miles per gallon. I definitely would say that if you're driving only freeway, if you did a freeway 100% and you did about 70, 75 the entire time, I can definitely see achieving, you know, 28, 30 miles to the gallon, no problem. With the AC going, you know, with the AC going, without the AC going, I really don't notice any lack in power. It's a very comfortable car. Like I said, it is a two-door, so you may immediately think, oh, a two-door is tiny, but, you know, like you can see from my interior video as well, it's kind of hard to tell with this camera, but because it doesn't get wide enough, but it's very big. I mean, you know, it's a very large car. You have plenty of leg room. You can easily, you know, fit 4 people in here. The back seats are just a little bit tiny, but it's really, honestly, it's doable, and I wouldn't say you know, want to have this car to drive around 4 people all the time, but if you need to fit in passengers that aren't, like, you know, 6'6" or something like that, this car is totally fine doing so. I would definitely recommend 2 things once you get it. Definitely window tint. If you live in a hotter area, it's a necessity, and it keeps the car even cooler. And if you get the Blacktop package, it looks amazing with the black tint. And then number 2 would be probably a catch can. I hear mixed opinions, but to be safe, I would install a catch can. I'm about to get one, so I'll go over how to install it. But basically, what goes on with the catch can is that rather than it expelling the oil, the particles and contaminants from the engine back into your throttle body to be burned off, what this does is route from your engine to a can that collects the kind of overspray oil with contaminants into a physical can, and then routes it back to the throttle body so it can collect all those contaminants. If you drive in really dusty areas, or aggressively drive your vehicle, or really just in general, it's a good thing to have. There's a lot of, if you look online, there's a lot of things about engine sludge and stuff like that you don't want your new car to have. So it's definitely worth installing. It's pretty cheap. You can pick one up for somewhere between $20 on the low end from eBay, but who knows how long those things will last for, or how well they act under pressure. Or you can pick one up from Speedlogics or a billet, and you'll pay probably between $100 to $130 depending on the accessories that you need. Overall, great car. Like I said, if you don't have kids and you want a two-door and you want the American style classic looking very, very sharp, it's a great car for the price point it's at. And yeah, I'm in love with it. So thanks for watching, and please feel free to comment below with any questions you may have. Like I said, subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing a lot of different modifications and parts to this vehicle as time goes on, so be sure to check those out.